My sister, she's gone missing.
She ain't missing. She's dead.
What?
People go missing around here, they're gone for good. Outsiders come, they don't know where to walk. They bring trouble. They just won't be left alone. And so does he.
So does who? Man, please, so does who?
Welcome back to the Hatton for Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Rudy.
I'm Maria.
And today we're talking about Friday the 13th, the remake, which was released in 2009, directed by Marcus Nispel, written by Damian Shannon, Mark Swift, and Mark Wheaton. Yep, another remake. Like every other good horror movie franchise in the 2000s, they felt the need to remake it. But was it a good remake? Before we get into that, Maria, can you give the people the plot summary?
A group of young adults set up tent near the abandoned summer camp where a series of gruesome murders are said to have taken place back in 1980. The perpetrator was a grieving mother driven insane by the drowning of her child, Jason, whom she believed was neglected by the camp counselors. As legend has it, the last survivors of the attacks beheaded the woman. But then Jason came back, and now he is a vengeful and in oh my god, inexorable killer wielding crossbows, swords, axes, and other sharp instruments. The legend proves horribly true, as these campers quickly discover. 6 weeks later, the brother of one of those campers distributes posters of his missing sister. The police believe she took off with her boyfriend, but he knows better. The brother crosses paths with an uptight young rich guy who is having his girlfriend and friends over at his parents' cabin. The brother ends up at the cabin himself just before his sister's attacker sets upon them all.
Ooh, spooky. JK. this movie is a lot. Like they literally crammed the first four Friday the 13th movies into one. And Maria, how do you feel about that? What are your thoughts on this movie?
Honestly, it like had its moments, but I feel like most of it was kind of boring. Cause I mean I like recognized a lot of elements that they kind of used in like the previous movies, and after like watching it already, it was like okay. There were some kills that were pretty good, but overall, it was like this movie I could have played this movie in the background and would not even have noticed it.
It pretty much just rehashed like his greatest hits from like the first four movies. Like nothing
Yeah.
spectacular, really boring. There were some good kills. I will get there. I got a few to point out for later. Um, but what about you, Rudy? What are your thoughts on this movie overall?
I enjoyed it. I loved it. I like the fact that the introduction's like super long, and when I watched it for the first time, I thought that was the entire movie. And then you see like the opening credits. I'm like, oh shit, it's barely gonna start. So that was one of my favorite parts in the movie. I know it's not. We're not talking about that, but I'm just saying like overall the movie reminds me so much of the originals. Same concept, same storyline, really, with a twist. The brother looking for his sister, kind of thing. So nothing spectacular, but it was definitely a really good remake, surprisingly.
Yeah, a good twist. I mean, we had a brother looking for his sister in part four. It's part three. Yeah, it's part four. So like, yeah, the kids kept playing, replaying their greatest hits. But what about you, Tuan? What did you think about this movie overall?
I like the remake. I I saw this remake before I saw many of the other movies in this franchise, but
Oh,
I
so
just had
your opinion is tainted then. If you saw this one first, and it's like you're completely out.
it's not really tainted because I've also now seen all the rest of them that we've watched them, and I still like this movie.
You're just trying to be
Um,
controversial, Tuan.
no, I actually like this movie. I mean, like it did have its parts where it was like boring, but I'm not gonna lie, I thought most of the other ones were boring as well. Like a lot of the earlier ones were like slow paced and shit, and it wasn't really much going on with characters that I really didn't care about. And hey, if this is a remake, they kept to that because they didn't care for a lot of these people, and they died in ways, and they died in good ways, and it was like a slasher. And I like what they did with Jason in this movie, and like particularly, um, like he just felt more lively and not like a big dummy just standing there most of the time. So that I would say that's like the biggest part that I liked about this movie. It's just like it felt more intense than the other like Friday the 13th and such. And but like the story isn't nothing to like run home about for sure. But yeah, especially now after like the context of all the other Friday the 13th, I definitely see like the influence of like the first four movies like being pushed into this one. And I mean that kind of works instead of them like trying to do like a remake of the actual first one with like Pamela Voorhees and stuff. Like nobody want to see that. We already know the twist at this point. I like the way that they did it. Just like they kept it minimum at the beginning with that, and then the rest of it was just Jason.
I mean, well, that was intentional because they didn't want to have to pay the guy who wrote the first movie.
And I'm glad they didn't.
I mean, he got his wish. I mean, when it comes down to it, he owns the rights to that first movie and to Camp Crystal Lake, but the other guy owns everything else, including the serial killer Jason, which is like, I'll watch a Jason movie if you put Jason anywhere. I don't give a fuck. Like
Yeah, like
he
yeah.
could be killing people in California. Like he does not have to be in Camp Crystal Lake. But
Though actually though, like the rest of that doesn't matter. We came for Jason.
yeah, like yeah, you keep Pamela Voorhees in that first movie in Camp Crystal Lake, so you keep that. But Rudy, what are some kills that stood out for you? Good, bad, or indifferent?
I don't think I have any really favorites, honestly, with this one.
Oh,
Only because they
really?
were like reminiscent of like the previous. I don't know, something about these Friday movies. I just feel like they're repetitive with the kills, except Jason X. But this one was like, I feel like I've seen so many of those kills either in the franchise itself or just in different movies where I was just like, One of my favorite ones though is when he has that one girl tied up in her bed in her
The
sleeping
sleeping
bag.
bag.
Yeah, and the tree, and she's burning her, right?
He
Yeah, he put
roasted
her. He
her.
Yeah,
basically roasted her over fire.
yeah, that one's a really good scene. I will admit that one's really one of the ones that pop out for me. The least favorite scene would be when what's her face, that one blonde girl gets like stabbed in the freaking head with the machete when she's like trying to hide from Jason in the water. It seemed a little too fake to me. Like they did something wrong with the effects. That just seemed like, I don't know. I mean, bad editing basically. I didn't like how it looked. It looked weird. Um,
Actually, with all the kills for me, I feel like some of them were like I know with other movies, like there's definitely like some teleportation issues, but this one was like off the charts because when he killed that one like the blonde douchebag guy, he threw the body on top of the car when the guy was in the car, and then that guy took the fuck off running. He was running for a while. How the fuck did Jason catch up with him to impale him on the car? Like what? There was, and then he went from killing that black guy to being on top of the fucking house, like the roof. Like
I don't know. It kind of makes sense to me.
they were watching the whole entire time. How the fuck did he get up there?
No, actually, I have no idea. But I mean,
Was I the only one who noticed the teleportation? Because it stood up. Because like what the fuck? I was like he's
it's not like it's unheard
okay.
of though. At this point, for these movies, this motherfucker be all around the place.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess because it was the remake, I thought it'd be something that they would cut. But I don't know. But what about you, Tawan? What are some kills that stood out? Good, bad, or indifferent?
Um, even though it was my least favorite, one kill that I did like just because of how it like was going on was towards the beginning when Jason was chasing the girl Whitney and her and that when the one guy when they went into the cabin and he was like punch stabbing through the floor and like pulled like stabbed up and like pulled the guy through the floor. Um, that was just scary because literally would not know what the fuck to do if I was there because Jason knows that area better than me. But I would say and besides that, another kill that I did like was also the sleeping bag one. That was just that's a crazy way to go out. And I also liked when he killed the cop. I just like the shot of like how it like it went through like the wall into like pivoted into the actual room that they were in. It just looked kind of cool there. But I think my least favorite though, uh, I'm trying to remember because I did have a least favorite. Yeah, it's not coming to me right now. I believe it was the black guy. I didn't care for his kill that much. His name was Lawrence, but we shall continue. Let's move on from me.
The black guy. I mean, I guess they needed one black person. They had to fit the quota. The token black guy in a horror movie. But what about you, Maria? What are some kills that stood out? Good, bad, or indifferent?
Um, the kill of that one dude who took out the boat.
Oh, with the
That
bow
kill
and
was pretty
arrow.
good. Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like he was like going and they're having a good time, and then he just gets shot in the head. Like that was pretty good. Um,
Good ass aim.
yeah. Oh yeah. Um, when he killed Trent, because Trent was such an asshole. But when
Yeah,
he killed him, because I feel like he killed him very brutally, and he like hung him onto this guy's car as the guy just drives away. Um,
Trent
what
was a
other
dick
kill?
though.
He was. It was. I
He's
think
like,
that's like
watch the
the
floor. It's like, bro, shut up.
yeah. I just don't. I just like what was the whole point of bringing them there then? You know. Well, whatever. Either
Yeah,
way. But no, yeah. I was waiting for his kill, and it did not disappoint. To be honest. Um, when he killed the cop too, because he like stabbed the cop in the eye, but it went like
yes,
all the way through. That was
yeah.
so
That's why that
good.
was crazy to me. And then the way the camera like panned and like through the house too. I like the way they did that.
Yeah, because it didn't even like stick out a little bit. It went all the way. If what's his name? If Clay didn't move Jenna, he would have stabbed her too. Um, which would have been pretty cool to be honest, but whatever. Also when he killed the first girl, I don't remember what her name was. I just like it was like in in the kill like in the kills in the beginning when her and the dude were gonna have sex and they keep hearing it was the kill after Wade.
The one that he
Um,
roasted?
yeah, I was like, why, why
I
is
believe
he
that girl's. I think her name was like Amanda.
Yep.
Amanda? Yes, yeah, that was. I feel like that was a pretty good kill too, because I mean, I think the last kill we had where like Jason had killed someone in their sleeping bag was when he was like throwing them against like the tree,
Yeah,
which is pretty cool because it's not the same thing, but it's the same idea. But this time he like lit her on fire. I thought that was pretty good. As her boyfriend watched,
yeah.
like
No, because what I did like about this. Well, no, I'll save it. I'll save it until we get to that part. But yes. Continue.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was like, he set up this bear trap, burned this girl alive. Like, it was pretty good. I think the kill that I least liked was also like the boyfriend's kill of Amanda, because it was kind of like, I liked this scene where he runs towards him because it actually makes Jason look pretty cool. I actually liked Jason before the mask in this movie, but
Yeah.
it was just so simple because he just like slit his face in half and just kicked him, and that was it. Um, Same thing when he killed Bree. It was also very like lackluster. I feel because he just like choked her and then just hanged her, and I was like, all right, I guess. But yeah, that's it for me. I think.
I think the only kill that I like is when Whitney's boyfriend was killed because he was stabbing him from like under the floor, and every time like boyfriend tried to like walk or crawl like towards Whitney,
Yes.
like Jason just like shoved that machete up and like
Yeah,
kept
that
getting
shit was
him.
like that shit was scary.
Right, and then like just yanked him down. I was like, oh, a lot was happening. But Rudy, are there any scenes that stood out for you? Good scenes, bad scenes, scenes that are kind of like, eh.
Well, I'm indifferent because again the movie reminds me so much of the previous films, but with like a twist. And I know you stated that we've also had like the whole brother sister storyline in the previous films, but that's the thing. It just makes it so repetitive to me. Like I've seen the story before, and one thing that this stood out to me was the introduction. It was super long. I honestly thought that was the actual movie because at that time I wasn't really watching trailers. You know, they weren't spoiling it as much. So like I thought the entire movie was that short, and then we see the credits and blah blah. So nothing else really. Well, I like the fact that they showed where Jason was living and had his victims, like that underground cellar looking place. That was pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen that in the previous films, right? They never even showed where he lived at for the most part.
They showed like where he has his mom's head, but like that's it.
Like the shrine, right? But not like
Yeah.
it reminded me so much of Leatherface.
Hmm.
Um, but that's pretty much it. I don't have much to say about this film. It was a good one though. I'm not gonna lie, it's a good remake. They didn't fuck it up like Nightmare on Elm Street, but as far as like scenes and
Yeah.
shit, I'm just blah. I've seen it all before.
What about you, Maria? Anything stand out for you? Good, bad, or indifferent?
I mean, besides the kills, I mean, I liked seeing like Jason for the first time, and you don't see him obviously wearing the mask. He's just like covered his face. I thought that was, I don't know, like I really actually really liked it. Like I was like, okay, I dig. It made him look scarier, I think, if anything.
To
Like,
me, it did.
but no, I mean, I feel like it made him look scarier. Like he, like his face is all bandaged up, but he's like running after you, and he's still like a pretty big guy. Like I don't know. I just feel like if I saw that running after me, I would genuinely be very terrified. Um. Oh, the scene where Trent and Bree are like having sex,
Oh my
and he
god.
calls her breast stupendous.
Oh, wow. Your tits are stupendous.
I was, and I'm like, I just look at her like, there's no way you want to fuck this guy so bad
And your
that
best and
like,
one of your friends guys at that.
And
yeah,
then
and
he's like walking around in his t-shirt, like, you just fucked your best friend's man. You're not even gonna try to hide it. That's why I was like, girl, why are you comforting this bitch while she's wearing your man's shirt?
but like, but okay, but like Jenna never said anything about it either. Like she was just like, she moved on really quick, which I don't blame her because Jared is amazing. That man is. I would
They were running from
not.
a murderer, so like she had priorities.
I mean, he definitely would have been my priority, 100%. Like,
Oh,
fuck the
girl, no.
murderer.
You got no
Yes.
standards. Oh no,
What? Do
he was
I'm.
not attract. None of them were actually. The only one that I found attractive was, and I'm surprised, Mark, you added him on here, is Wade
Wait, isn't
Wade?
Wade there? Wait,
on
Wade, who the fuck is
on the
Wade?
list. On the characters list, you added him.
I
Oh,
think
the boyfriend, right? Oh, he was cute.
no, Wade
No,
was he
the
was
pothead.
no
Wade's the
wait
black guy?
No, he was the pothead.
no
No,
no
Wait,
Wade
am I?
was the nerdy guy who got
yeah, at the
killed
beginning.
first.
Yeah, the pothead who found the weed.
Oh.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
no, we
even
take
he's
him off. That's
attractive,
not who I
but
thought.
Maria Jared, girl, bye.
Look, I knew him from Supernatural, and I've watched the
Oh god.
show from beginning to end, and I am in love with him. I love his brother, but they're
Oh.
hot. They're so hot to me. Like I would have been 100%. I would have been like, let's just run away together. Fuck everybody.
Mm.
Like, yeah, fuck your sister.
Yeah, like fuck.
Oh,
Like they're all gonna die anyway. I'm sorry.
you're like, fuck your sister. It's about us.
Yeah,
Funny
God.
as hell.
what about
but
you, Twan? You have any scenes that stood out?
One scene that I would just say I did like was towards the beginning when you just see how agile and shit Jason is now, especially when he ran towards Whitney's boyfriend and like dug the machete in his head. Like the way he just like ran though, like that's how you. I was like watching this, like you just knew this was about to be a different type of Jason because he don't do that shit. And um, also just seeing how I would say environmentally smart he was, like using like the bells and shit to like alert him when like people were in certain areas and stuff like that. Like just like seeing how he was using his environment um like suit himself and get the upper edge on whoever is trespassing basically. And I was gonna say, were there any scenes I dislike? Yes, I also did like I dislike that sex scene because that shit was crazy. Also, when Bree was dancing like drunk in like the living room or whatever, I did watch the kill count earlier, and he said it looked exactly like that scene from Cabin in the Woods, and that shit took me out because that's exactly the same dance that girl did in Cabin in the Woods when she was like dancing for them, and it's even funnier because it's a parody, and she did the exact same thing.
Whoa, let's talk about the characters really quick. With Chewie and Lawrence, were they supposed to be
I wasn't
like
getting that.
the comedy relief, like
Yeah, like
the
that
the
they
the
were.
stoner duo? Because it wasn't given for me.
That's pretty much that shit. That's all they get. That's all I was getting from them.
yeah, they like 100% were saying they were saying some really funny things sometimes, but
Especially Chewy. He was
yeah.
especially as like the stoner.
Wait, what did you think I was gonna say, Tuan?
I thought you was gonna say that where they
You thought
you
I was
know
gonna make it gay?
of course.
Wow. But also, like, why are the two minority characters the stoners?
Um this movie was are all these movies
2000,
made on but
2000,
aren't all of
2009.
these on
Yeah.
stereotypes anyway? Like aren't
I
all the
mean, yes,
Friday the
but this is
13th shit?
like this is 2009. The black character is a stoner, and he's trying to start a rap label, and his Asian friend is also a stoner.
And they were trying
Okay.
to make those connections early on, like when he was first talking about it, and they would like ask, and like I think when he first mentioned the label, and she was like, "Oh, like what kind of music, rap?" And he was like, "Why would you say that?" And then he was like, "Yeah, it is rap, and it's supposed to be funny." Like I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Chewie and Lawrence, but let's go to Trent. He was the blonde, muscled, supposed to be attractive guy in the movie. You know, the main character's boyfriend. He was kind of basic looking. I mean, most of those guys from the 2000s was not my
I
cup
think
of tea.
that guy in particular looks better now. He was in like season 3 of that show You.
Yeah, he definitely looks better now, but it's just like that 2000 like curl slash wavy hair was definitely a trend that I'm glad died. But what about you, Rudy? What'd you think about Trent?
Um, Trent. Hold on, I have to go back to his character on Google because I forgot the face.
He
Who's
was the
Trent? Oh,
boyfriend. The
he was
boyfriend, the
a
blonde hair.
douchebag. Yeah, a douchebag.
Yep.
I didn't fucking like him for shit. He was an asshole since the very beginning. Like the way he treated Jared's character Clay when he was looking for his sister at the shop,
You okay, bro? Is everything good?
like that was over the top. And then he was just acting too um not demanding, but like I can't. Okay, look, I can't stand people who invite you over to their place and they still expect you to like respect their house. If that makes any sense, like, oh, don't touch that, it'll break, or don't, that's how he was, and that's rude as fuck. Like, you don't treat your guests that way. So his whole character was like he deserved that brutal ass death scene or whatever because I didn't like him, and I just didn't understand his relationship with this girl because he cheated on her for the other girl. You get me? So like the whole storyline is like, okay, so were they even together, or was he just ready to cheat on her, or did she know that he was a cheater? Like so many questions came up to me. Um, so yeah, his character overall was just fucking zero. He was a peasant.
I had that same thought though. Like, why would you invite your rowdy friends who you know are gonna smoke and drink to a house where you don't want anything to be touched?
That's
Like,
vulgar.
yeah, don't let them break shit, but but calm down. Like, you,
No, but like he was just over the top with it. Like he was treating that one Asian guy like shit too. Um,
right?
Not saying it's based on the race, but like the way he was treating him particularly, because he was a little too lit. That Asian guy. I'm horrible with names, sorry guys, but
Chewy.
Chewy.
yeah, like he just was treating everyone like he was too above them all. Like why the fuck? I don't know. I just can't stand people. Maybe because I've had personal um experiences with people like that, where they just like keep watching over you at their own place,
Same.
and I'm like, then don't invite me ever again. Like that's yeah. Anyway, that's all.
Like, if you think I'm gonna break and steal shit, then like, don't invite me over to begin with. Like, you could have saved this invite. But Maria, what did you think about Trent?
I mean, yeah, he was a fucking douche. Like from the beginning, he had this whole like alpha male. I'm number like the main person around here. Like that whole attitude the whole fucking time. Like yeah, with the whole Jared scene, and then though I mean I kind of understand him kicking Clay out of his house though, because like I mean Jenna just brought this man in, this random man that you kind of already know that whatever, that's a whole different thing. But yeah, I mean yeah, like the whole time he was watching over people at his house, which you know what, fine, if you want your house clean or whatever, fine. But then don't be inviting people that you don't feel comfortable having there. And then make these comments like, I'm justified because, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no. I mean, I guess it's your place, your rules, but why would you invite people that you just don't feel comfortable having around? And you're gonna keep watching. Like, I mean, he didn't want to go on a walk with Jenna because he had to keep like keep a lookout because they become too much. Like, I don't know. He just seemed very like prissy and very um I mean, I guess they were trying to give him the whole spoiled rich kid character, and they did it, and he was a dick. Also don't know why he spoke the way he did. Like, I just can't get over him telling this girl that she had stupendous breasts, like stupendous boobs or whatever. And then when Jenna was trying to like get in for or like was like telling them to like get out, and he was just like shut up, and it was like it was just so weird. This man was so weird. There's just I just like I guess I mean I knew that he was technically supposed to be like a rich kid, which I'm assuming why a lot of people like a lot of people in the friend group hung around him. But
Mm.
like he was just so weird. I just feel like I could not ever fake it. Like I can't stand there or sit there listening to this guy just talk and be like, you know what, he's gonna buy me stuff. He knows where all the rich places are. Like I can't. I really can't. Like I know. I'd rather be broke or like
Right.
like I was like, he's just so stupid.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Well, Tuan, you can kick us off by giving us your thoughts on Jenna.
Thoughts on Jenna? Jenna was definitely giving us that that final girl energy, like especially the way they were just portraying her and such throughout the movie. They were really like giving her like the final girl energy and everything, and like she was with Clay throughout most of the movie, trying to like figure out this mystery of his sister and everything, and what happened. Like she's like helping call shots to like basically like get them out of like the situation that they were in, and then she just gets got by Jason like towards the end, and I kind of like that though. I didn't mind that because at least at the time, Danielle Pennebaker, I do remember her being in like a lot of shit at the time, and it's kind of one of those things you probably really didn't expect her to like die, which I definitely didn't. But it was cool to see that. But she was fine as like a character. She was like, even though she was giving like that final girl energy, but she also was like a bit boring as well. Um, like she didn't really add much to it, but like you could just kind of feel like they were writing her in a way to make her seem like she was gonna like make it through the end and such. But overall, I didn't really care much for her. But props to her for uh. Well, I would say props to her. She made it to the end because she would have got out of the killings and had a new man.
Rudy, what are your thoughts on Jenna?
Uh, Jenna wasn't my favorite. Maybe because I don't like Danielle, the actress.
Damn, what she do to you,
Um,
Rudy?
what she did to me, she just got that face, that smackable face. I don't know. It's just like, ugh. Anyway, well, her character wasn't all that bad, honestly. Um, she was one of the smart ones of the group. Obviously, she was super sweet for like leaving the group behind just to go help Clay find his sister. I thought that was really big of her, but then again, she was already ready to like leave that fucking environment with her toxic ass boyfriend anyway, you know. So, um, she wasn't giving me final girl vibes though. Again, she seems like a weak character, if that makes sense. Like even the guy, even Clay's sister gives me more of a final girl vibe, even if she wasn't on screen for much compared to Jenna. Um, what else can I say about Jenna? She was just there, not really an important character in my eye, to be honest.
What about you, Maria? What are your thoughts on Jenna?
Hold on, give me 1 second. um, Honestly, yeah, I didn't like her either. She was also really bland. Um, I mean, she was sweet, yeah, but like, I guess like the scene that really kind of bothered me about her was when she had invited Clay in, and he was like, "What about your boyfriend?" And she was like, "Oh, he'll be fine." Like we all know, everybody in that cabin knew he would not be fine. You already see him stressing out about his own friends. Like you think he's not gonna stress out about some random guy that he was already really like hostile to? Like, come on, like you can't be that stupid. um so that kind of really rubbed me the wrong way, to be honest, like throughout the whole movie. um but I think, and honestly, like I see what Rudy sees. I don't know, like the actress, I also just don't really like her face. I don't know what it is. Like she just gives me like a nice girl who's not really nice, you know?
Yep, that's
And
exactly what it
yeah,
is.
right. Yeah.
Like, like Taylor Swift almost. Like that bitch, I can't stand her. And she has that face, like she want to be innocent, but she's not. Like she's deep down a bitch. Like that's how Danielle reminds me. honestly.
Yeah, and then like and that's kind of what her character reminded me of, and I feel like if the movie was a little bit longer, it probably would have gone that way. But no, I mean she was smart. I liked though, I mean, I just don't understand why they made her and Trent like a couple if I mean he like cheats on her. Like they had him cheat on her in a really weird way. And then it's like never mentioned again. Like it's never brought up again. And it was like then what was just the whole
She
what
was
was the
literally gone for 8 hours, and he did not even try to look for her. He just got drunk and fucked her best friend.
that's yeah, and that's what I'm like then what was just the whole point of having them to like she just didn't say anything. Like she didn't care. Like she heard them fucking, but she was just like, guys, we're all gonna die. I mean, which to be honest, priorities, and she already kind of had some man downstairs waiting for her. But it was like a really weird subplot going on there, and it was like I don't know, I didn't like it. Um I was surprised when she died though. Like I she didn't give me final girl vibes, but I think because she was with Clay and Clay was looking for Whitney that she was going to somehow end up being a final girl.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it.
Yeah, but
Once I
then
saw Whitney, I knew she wasn't gonna make it.
I thought it was going to be like the three of them. I don't know, but no, but then she died and I was like cool. Okay. But yeah, she just I don't know. She was just kind of weird and bland and yeah, it's kind of there.
Well, Maria, what are your thoughts on Whitney?
I mean, I agree with what was said about Whitney that, that she gave off more like final girl vibes than Jenna did. Like and she was on screen for like 5 minutes. Like she handled her shit really good. Like she was like um she was like held prisoner, and I'm not like I don't like who knows what Jason did to her. Not that I'm like implying that he tortured her, did anything bad to her in any way, but I'm pretty sure it's just equally traumatizing if he's like comparing you to his mom, you know. But as soon as she was able to escape, she like right away just kicked ass. She was like, "There's no way I'm gonna go back. No way am I gonna like she like was hurting Jason, but like when they brought up um her talking to Jason as his mom again, and that was already done in what, like the second movie, and I was
Second.
like the second. I don't know, like I was like it's already been done, um and I feel like that scene was iconic in the second movie, but then seeing it again and they didn't really do much with it was just kind of like, I mean, they did lead up to it, which was pretty good, but I don't know, I just feel like after seeing it for the second time I was like less impressed. um but yeah, I definitely liked her character's personality more than I liked um Jenna's, even though she wasn't on screen for a long time. um but yeah.
Rudy, what are your thoughts on Clay?
Clay. Well, first of all, damn, do I even have any input on Clay? Um, I'm talking about like his character because I already talked about him with Maria. But like, mm, well, I like the fact that he went all his way to look for his sister. I give him that much because many of them wouldn't have done that. Honestly, back in the day, they would have relied on social media, on the cops. But he like was giving up on. I feel like he was giving up on the people of the village that weren't really helping, and like the cops weren't doing shit about it. So he was taking it and taking the risk to go find his sister. and I admire that because again, I'm gonna do that no more. His character to me was just bland. He didn't get much to me. He was just, okay, I'm gonna be really fucking honest now. I feel like during this era, which is what 2009, this movie came out, they picked these specific characters that were like it in Hollywood. Like, for
They were the
example,
CW stars.
yeah. So like, I feel like they didn't even give him any like character development story, like nothing. It was basically, hey, let's pick a bunch of these popular actors and actresses and put them in this movie and make profits off of them. Like I just couldn't relate to any of these characters, and I didn't feel bad for his character or feel nothing, if that makes any sense. Usually with characters I like to bond and connect with them, but none of these characters gave me that. It was like a void. So Clay's character was that void. He was just like, you know, I guess in that era he was the hunk in Hollywood. They chose him, and that's that. I don't think he gave nothing much to offer besides being a good brother and looking for his sister.
What about you, Tuan? What are your thoughts on Clay?
I thought Clay was serviceable. I guess you could say. Um, it, I forget, was it 3 or 4 where it was the guy looking for his sister? Which one was that?
That was four.
Okay, so I didn't mind that story thread being used because of how early it was introduced in like the cold open basically, and I didn't really mind like Clay as a character, but yeah, like Rui had mentioned, Clay was he was not like not the most interesting character, which like none of, honestly I don't, I think besides like maybe um the telekinetic girl and the final girl and I think part 2, none of the characters in this franchise have really been interesting or anything. So I mean, I'm not even I won't say I'm not mad at it, but um if I do get with it being a remake, you expect like some bit of differences, which the differences are there, and they like change up some things, but it is like in a sense like a greatest hits, and um, Clay is no better than the guy they got in fucking part 4 to do like this same type of storyline, and props definitely for going out and looking for his sister, of course, like definitely nothing wrong with that, but um I don't want to say like it's been done because like it is like a remake and it's doing it for a newer generation and whatnot, but it has been done, but there was no changes to it to like add anything new outside of it just combining with the rest of the like for like first 4 movies to make like a new story basically, and just Jason himself being different in this instance. But like Clay was okay though as like a character. Like he wasn't like bad really. But he really wasn't good. He was just okay.
Maria, what are your thoughts on Jason compared to all the other ones?
I mean, he definitely seemed different. He I feel like his style of killing was really different too. Like it was creative, but it also felt like it's like this time around he was just oh my god. He was like enjoying doing the kills. Like it wasn't him just trying to survive. It was him just like being like, "You know what? Like I'm going to kill this guy by using an arrow this time." And he felt honestly, I think this time around he felt a little bit more brutal. Um
Oh yeah.
yeah, like I felt like this time he was just kind of um like he was hunting, like he was really trying to, find a way to like get these kids isolated and had already figured out a way to kill them. He seems smarter this time around, which I actually enjoyed. Instead of just like killing by chance or just killing just because he sees a person, like he was like actually like smart about it. Um, and I liked it. So I liked this Jason.
What about you, Rudy? What do you think about Jason this time around?
Jason was brutal. I agree. Like I feel like he was pissed. Like, does someone remind him that his mother died or something? Because he was going at it with all these characters and just killing them left and right. Had no mercy. But then again, this was a different era too, and Hollywood wanted more brutality in movies to, cater to the horror fans. And they had a more like special effects and stuff that they can do with the killing, so that was pretty dope. Um, but I just don't like the fact that they made him seem like Leatherface living underground or whatever, like having his own little property. That was like reminiscent to those movies, the TCM movies.
It was
And
made by the same company.
what was that?
It was made by the same production company, so
Really?
that probably is. Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's a Bay. It's a Bay. Yeah, it's a Michael Bay
Yeah, it
production.
was done by Platinum Dunes.
Yep, and
oh,
Platinum Dunes was a studio created
that makes
specifically to
sense.
do horror remakes.
Right, they're known for that, so no wonder it makes sense. But it was like almost like a nod. But Jason, yeah, his character, I liked him. I mean, I don't see him any different than the other movies, besides him being more brutal here. But I actually don't have any complaints about him. Like he looked scary in a way, maybe because he was so damn big. Oh, also, I like the fact that he runs. I don't think I've ever seen Jason run, or maybe I just never paid attention to the other movies. But like, he was actually
He ran
running in this
like
one.
once. He ran in like one movie, and that was like
Really?
part. He ran in part three.
I
But
like
it was
that.
like real goofy though. Like
This
he
one?
was running, yeah, like in the other one. Like, and I
Oh,
feel like he was running with intent this time around.
yeah, in the remake, right? He was more
Yeah,
like into it. Yeah. Just like that one scene in the beginning when we think that he's gonna kill the sister and he's like running towards her. That was a really good scene.
yeah.
Um, it looks scary. Like imagine his big ass like running towards you like that, tall as fuck with a machete. Like I'd be fucking terrified. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about Jason Voorhees.
For me, I like that he was more intelligent this time because like he had like traps and like alarm bells and shit set up, and he was being smart. I was like, oh, like this Jason isn't just some big like mountain man. He's actually smart. But what about you, Tuan? What you think about Jason this time around?
Yeah, this Jason was my favorite part of this movie. I just like a lot, like a combination of like a lot of things you guys said. Specifically, him like being more of a, I would say like a hunter this time around. Like if like the teenagers and whatnot never like came on his like quote unquote his grounds, basically he would have never done nothing. He probably wouldn't have sought them out, but because they were there, he wanted to protect his territory and whatnot, so he decided to go after them. And like I just like the way that it did go about it. It was like a bit like Leatherface though, but I like how he had like traps and shit around, like the bear traps and stuff like that. The bail system so that he know what like areas people are in and things like that. Him using tools to like sharpen his machete up and everything. Like it just felt different, and it felt like Jason was just moving with intent this time around instead of like, oh, I see people, I go kill people. Like I felt like Jason like had a plan and knew what the fuck he was gonna do when he like saw like anybody in this movie, and like that fact about him. And yeah, also the fact that him running, like the guy, like the actor they have playing Jason in this movie is big as shit. So if I saw that big dude running at me at full force the way Jason was in this movie, I'd be fucking scared too. And yeah, the kills that he had in this movie definitely were a little more brutal. Mainly, I guess mainly due to like the effects and stuff that we have now, but just also the like how strong they were kind of showing Jason to be in this movie. It was like it was pretty crazy. And also, I just want to know. I well, actually no. I just answered that to myself. I was about to say I just want to know who taught him how to use a bow and arrow, but they probably did that at camp though.
Yep, they probably did. Good old Camp Crystal Lake. We are about to leave it, but not just yet. Tuan, can you give the people the behind the scenes info and facts?
That I can. So the budget for this movie was 19 million. Box office return for it was 92.7 million. A couple of interesting facts. The film was originally conceived as an origin story, but the project evolved into a reimagining of the first four Friday the 13th films. New Line Cinema offered the remake initially to Quentin Tarantino. I really would have liked to have seen what that would have been.
That would
uh,
have been wild as fuck.
yeah. Victor Miller is responsible for creating the Friday the 13th franchise. Yet when it came time to write the remake, careful measures were taken to make the film appear to be a sequel rather than a remake. This was done so that Miller would be paid less, as sequels actually cost less than straightforward remakes. And also, at least two of the characters in this film were casted at the last minute, and just one that I want to toss in there myself. I actually saw this one earlier, and I was looking up the movie. The character Trent was actually in the Michael Bay Transformers movie. Like the same actor played the same character with the same name, and he casted him in this movie with the same name too. So Jason and the Transformers are connected.
Oh god.
Some critics' reactions. The film currently sits at a 26% of Rotten Tomatoes. The Washington Post wrote that the film fails to provide laugh, scare, suspense, or gore. The last one, though, it was definitely some gore. um, Los Angeles Times said Nispel captured the despair he created with his Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. They also said the film failed to provide the giddiness, teenage lust, and rambunctiousness that made the previous Friday the 13th films work. The New York Post said Nispel made no attempt to create a movie beyond blood and guts, and even those attempts were forgettable apart from Clay and Trent. The rest of the cast were merely faces in a crowd.
Before we depart Camp Crystal Lake, Rudy, do you cash or pass Friday the 13th, the remake, and why?
I uh I give it a cash. A lot of fans are gonna be disappointed in hearing the cash because I'm sure they didn't like the remake like you. But I enjoyed it. For a remake, I think it was done. It was executed the right way, how remake should be. It wasn't like changed too much with the storyline. It's they stuck to the original idea, but just focus on the brother and sister concept, which is cool. Um, I also think that people deserve to see a new modern Jason movie like this one. Not as modern as anyone thinks, because again, it all connects somehow with the originals and same thing happens, blah blah blah. But you know what I mean. It yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna cash it, surprisingly. I still don't like it because it's a remake, but I'm not gonna pass on it just because it's a remake. Compared to like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake and the Halloween remake and the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, this one's actually pretty solid, pretty different. It doesn't do anything new or spectacular, but it's an enjoyable. It's more enjoyable than the Final Friday and Jason X. So it gets a cash for me. But what about you, Maria? Cash or pass?
Um, like okay, I want to cash because this movie has like a lot of like really great things that make it good, like Jason, the kills. But then they have these like little subplots, like with Trent and like and Clay, and I just they're so cringy and like I feel like the little like comedy relief just sometimes just made the movie so like corny, and so I'm like 100% in between. Like I just Like I'll be like if I saw this movie at the store, I would be standing there for like 10 minutes deciding whether or not I'd take it home. Um and you know what? I'll
You
cash.
wouldn't.
Because
What about
honestly,
you?
I don't know. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I'll
No, no,
stop.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's definitely like it's in the middle. It's like, would I take this out of $5 Walmart bin, or would I just leave it there?
Yeah, if it was at a $5 Walmart bin, 100% I would take it. If it was like $25 or something, I would leave it.
So I'll put that as like a cash and a half. It's a half a cash.
Half a cash, yeah.
Junior cash.
What about you, Tuan?
I cashed though. I told y'all before we even watched this movie, I like this movie. It gives me what I would want out of a fucking Friday the 13th movie. The kills were decent. I like Jason in here. You get your little amount of boobies or whatnot. That's what they do best, and it worked for me. And like compared to the other ones, like the older movies, if I was to put one on for like a group of people, I probably would put this one on just because the other ones, I don't know, those are cool when I was watching by myself, but if I was watching with a group of people, they would be very slow. Or if they were like if they were fans, like that'd be cool. But like people probably never seen it, I probably would put this one on before that, before like any other past ones. To be quite honest with you, so yeah, I think yeah, but I give this a cash though, personally.
And just like that, we're done with the Friday the 13th franchise. We made our way to the end, but we're not done yet because next week you guys need to tune in as we rank the Friday the 13th movies from worst to best, which will be fun. I'm excited because then after that we move on to our next franchise, which is I'm very excited for, but we won't
Happy
get there
Death
yet.
Day.
Oh, happy! Oh God, I've never even seen the second one.
It wasn't that bad.
I know they're making a third one. I heard.
Yes, people are thinking it's gonna be like a crossover with that movie Freaky.
Oh God, and then not only that, like they're bringing fucking Jigsaw back and Saw for like
Yeah.
the 10th one. Like whatever, but we're gonna get there soon. Well, not too soon. Either way, thanks for listening, everyone. Goodbye. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?